That's all the member needs to do. Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's clearly Mr Cunliffe's day today to give the vein-popping, flirting delusions of grandeur speech from the other side, full of hollow platitudes. It's always interesting watching the Labour Party speak to see whose day it is today to make the leadership bid. Clearly today was Mr Cunliffe's, and I've got to say it's no surprise to me that he addressed his entire speech to the gallery because none of his colleagues were paying any attention whatsoever to a word he had to say. So I hope he got a better response from the gallery because his colleagues over there all had their heads down, couldn't have had any less interest in what Mr Cunliffe had to say, which is pretty much like the rest of New Zealand. Now, Mr Speaker, tomorrow is Budget Day, and I'm pleased the members opposite have realised that. It's the closest they've come to saying anything useful all week. It is Budget Day, and the budget this year, sir, is going to be yet another brick in the rebuilding of this country's economy. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be yet another step in turning around the complete hash the last Labour government left the economy of this country in. It is election year. It's election year, and this is not a government that's going to use the budget to recklessly throw around money in a desperate grab for votes the way Labour did. We're not going to do that, sir. We're fiscally prudent, and we know you've got to walk the talk. Anyone can say the words, Mr Cunliffe. Anyone can say the words, Mr Cunliffe. We're delivering. We're delivering. And this is a government that knows you have to earn it. You've got to support the people who earn it if you're going to have anything to spend. Labour's great at spending, but this is the government that gets in behind people who are actually earning the money. This budget, Mr Speaker, is about a couple of things. It's about controlling government spending, getting the books back in shape. It's about investing in infrastructure and skills, the sort of building blocks you need to get this economy going. And most importantly for me, it's about rebuilding Canterbury. It's about rebuilding my province of Canterbury, which is going to take over $15 billion to do. We know we have to play our part in that. We have to play our part in the rebuilding of Canterbury. And New Zealand knows we've got to make changes and we're going to pay for that bill. This budget's going to do that. It's going to keep us on the path of rebalancing the economy, getting the books back in order and getting New Zealand back into surplus so that we can have choices, so that we can create productive, sustainable jobs and better incomes for New Zealanders. Anybody can talk about that stuff. The national-led government is the one that is delivering that stuff for everyday New Zealanders, and that's why New Zealand is going to continue to back us. That's why every single poll shows us the only lot of people they want on the Treasury benches is the national-led government. No interest in Labour, no interest in the Greens, no interest in the Hone Heki tax. The national-led government has shown time and again that this is the party of fiscal responsibility. They know they're supporting us. Now, in between their squabbles and their divisions and their factions, every now and then Labour tries to come up with a big bright idea. They try and land a couple of blows on us. What have we had this week? There's just been so much to choose from. My favourite had to be David Cunliffe's website poll. Wasn't that great? 2 days before the election, he's polling his faithful sheep on what they thought of the budget. Best of all, by the time he pulled it down, there was an 88% support rate for the national budget, which was so good that more than 24 hours before Bill English delivered it, the country already loved it. And 88% for pretty much what I think that the most recent polls will show. But what about the front page? What about the front page of today's Dominion? What about that? Stuart Nash finally drops the veil and admits his complete financial incompetence by suggesting we should tax businesses on their turnover. Brilliance! Brilliance! That story had to be one of the most moronic pieces of thinking I have seen in a long time. They went out and suggested that a $500,000 turnover was the same as the same amount of salary. Doesn't that just tell you how few of them have ever had a productive job in their lives? Not one of them. If any one of them had run a business and had even a basic grasp of how business works, they would know the difference between turnover and profit. So Labour's plan, if I get this right, is to tax us on money we don't earn, right? Tax us on money we don't earn. Tax us on money. Here's here's an earth-shattering piece of news for them. Maybe farmers are paying tax on what they actually get to keep. That'd be radical. That'd be radical.
Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
106, it is required to await the end of a member's speech before seeking a point of misrepresentation. The member has grossly misrepresented the opposition, who have never suggested dairy farmers be taxed on turnover.
Order! Now, the provisions provide for a member who has been grossly misrepresented, not for a party to claim gross misrepresentation. Now, if the member wishes to have come back into the debate, it's got to be that he has been misrepresented. If that's the case, I'll allow them. I'll hear from the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Yes, speaking to your ruling, and certainly, sir, I appreciate that it must be personal inference to a member, but as the party's finance spokesperson, sir, I do take a personal inference from the suggestion that we, and therefore I, who am responsible for this area of policy, have advocated a turnover tax, which is certainly not the Labour Party's position. It was not contained in the Leader of the Opposition's questions today.
Order.
If a journalist writes that on the front page of a newspaper, we cannot be responsible for journalism, sir.
Order. Order. I think we've had sufficient on that. I've allowed the Honourable David Cunliffe to do this. There's some question, though, as to whether I perhaps should have, but I've allowed it on this occasion. And now that is not helpful from the Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition. But I won't take it any further because I don't want it repeated. Stuart Nash.
Thank you.